Some people call it the golden rule. Others call it the ethic of reciprocity. The saying is hundreds of years old, and we can trace it back to dozens of religions, philosophies, and historical figures. But the general meaning behind it is very simple. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Also known as don't be a dick, unless you want someone else to be a dick to you, which why would anybody want that? In this video, I'll talk about the importance of not being a dick in sobriety, examples of what being a dick in sobriety might look like, and one of the best exercises you can do each night to make sure you're doing your best to treat those around you with kindness, love, and respect. Again, not being a dick. So make sure to stay tuned until the very end. Welcome to Young, Dumb, and Sober. This is episode number 12 of Dumb Quick Sober Tips, and I've never tried hot oatmeal. Allie, help me spread the word that sobriety is fun by subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload new content. That means every Wednesday and sometimes other days too. Okay, let's learn how to be a good person while simultaneously avoiding getting high and drunk. Maybe you're thinking, Allie, isn't it important to not be a dick in general? And yes, you are correct. The golden rule can and should apply to everyone across the board. However, when it comes to staying sober, it's especially important to not be a vapid asshole if you want to maintain your recovery.
And that's on period, bitch.
So some people say that addiction or alcoholism or substance abuse issues, whatever you want to call it, is a disease of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Those same people also tend to suggest that people who have these issues, people like us, people like me, are at our core selfish and self-centered. Whether or not those things are true, I have no idea. Just because thousands of people say something and believe it doesn't make it accurate. I mean, look at Christianity.
Not only trees throw shade.
But if we were to agree with that train of thought or those trains of thought, then we can also assume that possible cure or a solution to this ailment is contingent upon restoring the body, the mind, and the spirit, or doing the opposite of being a selfish and self-centered person, aka a dick. And what's the opposite of a selfish, self-centered person? Someone who, while first making sure they're taking care of their own needs, health and sanity and all of that, also extends their hand and their heart out to others. Remember, you can't pour from an empty glass, especially if there was previously vodka in it. So what I'm talking about here essentially is service, which also ties directly to community, another major facet of most recovery and sobriety programs. Okay, let's backtrack. Where are we at so far? Keeping yourself in good health, spiritually, mentally, physically, yada, 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 makes you more capable of being helpful to others. When you're spending your time being helpful to others, you have less of a chance of being a dick. Does that make sense? It should. And that's not to say that someone can't be taking care of themselves, helping others, and also being a douchebag on the side, because that's entirely possible. Some people are very talented and multifaceted, but it's a lot less likely. So what does being a dick in sobriety look like? I mean, I guess this can be different for everyone, but just consider what being a dick looks like in general. Maybe somebody particular comes to mind. By the way, that reminds me, despite everything I'm saying in this video, we can't paint people as good or bad. And that's not what I'm trying to do. We're talking about certain behaviors that are particularly dick-like that anybody in or out of sobriety can exhibit. Nobody is perfect. Sometimes I'm a dick, and you probably are too. Anyway, moving right along. Somebody who is a dick or acts like a dick might be, I don't know, manipulative, judgmental, irresponsible for their own actions and emotions, accusatory, sexist, misogynistic, unwilling to apologize or compromise. Is this starting to rhyme? Severely closed-minded, or at the very extreme end of the spectrum, abusive in some way, shape, or form. So being a dick in sobriety can look like someone sober doing any of those things that I just mentioned, or it could look nothing like that. Being a dick is a very personal thing, and everyone is their own unique type. Yes, we're all very special. Specifically though, someone who's sober might be a dick if they do one or some or all of the following things. 1. Police other people's sobriety. That means they act and speak and walk throughout the world as if the way that they got sober is the only way to get sober, or as if the way they got sober is the superior way to get sober. They also might push their definition of sobriety onto others and claim that someone else isn't as sober as them. Number 2. Act holier than thou because they're sober, as if becoming a better version of yourself somehow makes you enlightened. No, it doesn't work like that. Number 3, they judge people who aren't sober. Just because you stop drinking and getting high doesn't mean that you're better than anybody else, including the people who still do. 4, they prey upon the newly sober. If you didn't know that this sort of thing happens, I'm very sorry to be the one who has to tell you, but unfortunately, it's a very real thing that does take place in certain recovery communities. When people first get sober, the majority of us, they often need to build and lean upon a network of other sober people. Sadly, not everyone they meet has their best interest at heart from the get-go. And when you're just figuring out how to live life without getting high and drunk, you're in this really vulnerable state, and you might be extra impressionable to the thoughts and opinions of those people around you, aka it can be really easy to get manipulated. 5, they avoid helping others. Getting sober is fucking hard. Like I said, it requires a network and a community. Most people with sustained sobriety know that this is the case. So if they're sober and they have even just a little bit of time under their belt and a little bit more experience than somebody else, and they're not trying at all to support or help somebody else who used to be in their position, they might be a dick. These were just 5 examples. Like I said, it can come in many shapes and sizes. And at this point, I feel like there's really only one thing left to do, and that is give you guys the exercise I was talking about in the beginning of the video about how to do this nightly exercise that will help you to make sure that you are treating the people around you with kindness and respect as often as possible. Basically, how not to be a dick. And I'm assuming you're watching this because you are sober or you would like to get sober, or maybe you know somebody who's sober. So let's extend that to how to not be a dick in sobriety. How, you ask? Or maybe you don't ask and I answer anyway. I don't know. Whatever. So this little exercise is inspired by the 12 steps, and it's known as a nightly inventory. It's part of the 10th step and is often referred to as one of the 3 maintenance steps of the 12. This means it's one of the ones that people in recovery do regularly to maintain their program or their sobriety, their recovery, whatever you want to call it, to keep their sobriety in check. What it involves is journaling or making a list each night about what went on throughout your day, making sure to pay extra special attention to anything you might have done intentionally or unintentionally that could have harmed someone else or even yourself. That can be as explicit as something like flipping the bird to somebody because they cut you off in traffic, to something more subtle like saying something insensitive to your friend. This exercise is super easy, practical, and takes less than 5 minutes. So you never really have an excuse not to do it. The best part about it is that it allows you to reflect on the way you behave throughout the day, which thus allows you to adjust that behavior based on whether or not you think that it aligns with your values. So why not try it out tonight? Before bed, open up a journal or the notes app in your phone and write a bit about what went on throughout your day from the moment you woke up until the moment that you started writing. And it doesn't have to be like a John Grisham novel. You can literally just do bullet points if that's what you're comfortable with or if that's what's easiest for you. You can use bullet points to just summarize each chunk of your day, which is kind of like what I like to do. Make sure to just be especially cognizant about your interactions with others. But my big warning here, guys, is to not get down on yourself if you fell short. Like I said, nobody is perfect, and we all slip up sometimes. The important thing is that we're aware of where we fall short and we're doing what we can to make adjustments and correct the things that we know we need to work on. After all, it's totally possible to be a dick to yourself. So, I mean, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be a dick to anyone, but also just don't be a dick to yourself. Okay, everybody, if you're still watching this video, you might as well subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you get notifications every time I upload new content. Like or dislike this video. I don't care what you do. Any publicity is good publicity. Am I right? Probably not. Anyway, drop a comment below and let me know if you think that this video was offensive, because I have a strong feeling it's going to piss some people off. It's been real, it's been fun, and it's been real fun. Bye, guys.